Thomas Logion, Logion, Thomas Logion 8, number 8. The eternal nature, one big fish. It was a good fish, much bigger than the rest of the many and much smaller fish. Smaller fish grow into big fish, so why take the small fish and deplete your resources? Mysticism, as it's practiced, contemplation, is practical, has practical application on the worldly level. And we're going to come back to that. The power of the metaphor is to have several meanings. Metaphors have several meanings. And here, the big fish is heaven. Or, as in Clement of Alexandria, he wrote, the realm of heaven is like a person who casts a net into the sea and chose the better from the multitude of fish caught. Reference in the details. Chose the better from the multitude of the fish caught. Chose the bigger fish. Pick the bigger and better fish. Spiritually speaking, the smaller fish are delicious if you eat fish, and I do. But too much work. Have you ever tried to skin sardines and make a meal of them? So much easier. One big fish. Everything can feed everybody. One big fish can feed everybody. The one big fish and the choice fish is therefore more leisurely. Spiritually speaking, we can manifest a small fish or two in our life all the time. We can do that. And maybe even a boatload. A boatload. But the big fish is eternal. And so are you. We think we are the boat, but we're not. As for me, I choose the big fish. Now, how big is the big fish? Capital B, capital F. How big is the big fish? And what are the small fish? They are 10,000 things of the world. They are the 10,000 things of the world. They are the world itself. They are the 10 billion galaxies. Are galaxies small? No, they are 3,000 to 300,000 light years wide, or 1,000 to 100,000 parsecs wide. And if you watch Star Trek or uh, Star Wars, you'll know what a parsec is. They talk about parsecs. Galaxies are 1,000 to 100,000 parsecs wide. And the space between them? How wide is the space between the galaxies? Megaparsecs, millions of parsecs between them. All of that immensity of space, matter, energy, and time are small fish. Just like my pencil is a small fish. During my first NDE, the Almighty showed me the billions of megaparsecs between billions of galaxies, lit and clearly seen. The size of the universe, the size of our universe is a small fish. Then the beloved, capital B, unfolded themselves to me. 10,000 universes, each stretching back, each into uncountable time, each as immense as our universe, and all of it, every last and first bit of it, and infinitely greater, is, was, and will be the living love. All of those galaxies and universes, small fish compared to the immensity, the unspeakable love, flow of the Creator, loving all of these small fish, loving all of these multiverse, all of these universes, all of these small fish universes, all of that multiverse into being in love, all of it pervaded with love, all of it panentheistically manifested as love energy, from love energy, which is so much more than all of the multiverse. All of this washed into me, always has, always is, always will be. All the universes hauled up in a net of light are small fish compared to the love that gives all existence, all life, to all things. In this universe and to all the universes, the multiverse is real and small compared to the giver of life who pervades all of it all the time. My incarnation is a small thing. It's a small fish. I'm a small fish. This is because I am so much older and so much bigger than all of my incarnations. Isn't he cute? When I was a boy, they grabbed my cheek. They say, "Oh, isn't he cute?" None of this. Having seen and felt the one big love, maker of all the universes, how could I choose a small thing? When I hauled the net up from over the side and it was filled with little fish and one big fish, I took the big fish because it's the big fish. Anyone who has died and comes back understands that consciousness inhabits the body. They don't need to think this through philosophically or read books to form an opinion on it. They know instead, they know through direct experience, the direct experience of slipping this skin and seeing their authentic selves as beings of light. This is born againness. Choose that fish. Choose that fish with every meditative breath. My world is filled with 10,000 things. I have more pencils. I have so many pencils. Look at all the pencils I have. I have many small things. I have many small fish in my life. But I still choose the one big fish because I see myself as I am, a wayfarer, a passerby. Choose that big fish. All of my lives, all of my incarnations are little fish compared to the big fish that I am. I am a big fish. You are a big fish. But this world makes us only see the little fish. I can't help my point of view. I know I have the God madness. I'm not from here. I'm not a human being. I'm incarnated as a human being, but I am as you are, as Jesus even taught. And I don't say this because I read the Bible, which I have read and studied. I don't believe in the Bible. I don't believe in the Bible. I know that's heretical to say. I know the light. The light knows me more importantly. The big fish swallowed me. I swallow the big fish. I am, as you are, entirely made of light. And the stripping away of self reveals that to us. So why choose the small fish when the big fish is in your net and almost in your hand? What is the gain in the world from this? What's in this for me, God? What's the deal here? What do I get out of this? What's in it for me? Security, connection, safety, understanding, wisdom, healing, courage, kindness, compassion, forgiveness. Maybe ask yourself, are these practical in my life? The one big fish is a shift in consciousness. To be swallowed by the fish and to swallow the big fish is to have a shift in consciousness and perspective. And this can be attained not just through near death experience, not just through a mystical experience, which many of you have had, although that is the noetic knowledge that comes with that, is part of this big fish, but through the practice of centering oneself. One sees the bigger picture of oneself, and in doing so, understands the world in a way that results in a new way of living. It's a born again experience. It's putting on the mind of the cosmic Christ. It's aligning your frequency to the higher vibration of the divine self. Use any language you choose. It's a slow process of letting thine will be done. Thine will be done. Let thine will become my will. It's dying the small deaths of the false self so that when you die, you don't die. The one big fish. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you feel? Can you catch a glimpse of what I'm saying? I can't give it to you. That is not in my power. Everyone has to find it for themselves. You have to haul your net and find your fish. But maybe I can give you a glimpse, a taste, just a taste in your heart, in the vibration of this meeting, in the vibration of our gathering, all together, our joint fish on the table of which we are all partaking. Maybe you can have a glimpse of it now. Hey, thank you, Colleen, for holding that space for me with Super Chat. But do you understand what I'm saying? So please tell me in the comments if I'm communicating, not just with words, but with the divine energy itself. That's the real message. It's never about what I'm talking about, ever. It helps our brains, sure. It stretches our minds, it breaks our thinking patterns, but it's always about the big fish, the experience of the big fish, eating the big fish, consuming the big fish, and being swallowed by the big fish. Now, before we finish this morning, you may have been thinking about how similar the big fish saying is to the much more familiar story of the pearl of great price. Here it is. Again, the dimension of heaven is like a merchant seeking beautiful pearls, who, when he had found one pearl of great price, went and sold all that he had and bought it. No more little pearls. The one big pearl, the one big fish. And again and again and again, Jesus tells us to pick the one, not the fragmentations of the world. Choosing the one is a matter of the heart. Contemplatives understand that the one is selected by intent, attention, and focus. A regular practice, a small little regular practice, fills the entire life with the divine presence. And thank you, Mary. Mary, yes, thank you. Intent, intention, attention and focus. In a contemplative life, a little meditation goes a long way. It gets you more access. The more you practice, the more access you have. The more you eat the big fish, the bigger your belly becomes. The more energy you have, the stronger your body, the better your brain, the more open your heart. Practice, meditation practice in some form. You pick your type. I teach certain things, but I'm not telling you to believe me or to follow me. I just am presenting what works for me and what I know. The practice of the mystical contemplative life is practice. But there is such a thing, a spontaneous spiritual transformation. And the more you thin your veil, the more likely the bigger fish is going to swim up your stream. The more rocks, here's a better metaphor, the more rocks you pull out of your river, out of your stream, the more likely the bigger fish is going to swim right up your river. But, or here's another metaphor, sometimes the big fish just jumps into your lap. You're out in the boat and the big fish just jumps out of the water and lands in your lap. We've all seen videos about that. Sometimes the pearl of great price just falls into your hand. Spontaneous spiritual awakenings happen all the time to maybe half of the population. We keep it a secret, or no, I should say, we keep it private, but don't anymore. If you've tasted the big fish, if you've caught the big fish, let us know in the comments. Cast your net over the side of your boat. Pick the big fish. The benefits in this lifetime and in your afterlife, it brings the afterlife here. It makes the divine presence live now for me. All my life, I wanted to die. After I died the first time, I regretted coming back. You know this about me. I spent my life digging a hole inside myself. I fished inside myself. I'm always looking for the big fish inside of me. And then the big fish came. And when the big fish comes here, it changes consciousness and perspective, and it brings the divine present, which gives all of these gifts of practicality, the ones I listed. I get 3 announcements for you this week. Cast your net. And now 3 announcements. Last week's poll with 96 respondents showed that 84% said yes to, in not church, are my mystical explanations of the Gospel of Thomas helping your wisdom, understanding, and spiritual growth? Yeah. So out of 96 people, 84% said yes. 4% said some. 9% said, not sure. 2% said, no. But I'm going to continue to go on. That's a little bit of a landslide, so I'm going to keep that route. Thank you, Tiffany. So here's the thing. I'm always trying to send the light, because if you catch a glimpse, Tiffany says, thank you as always for your light energizes mine. My whole purpose in my life is to try to send this Shaktipat, this divine energy, this energy transference, this light, this Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call it, so that if you catch a glimpse of it yourself, if you see a glimpse of it yourself, you'll maybe understand the value of the big fish inside yourself and pursue it. I still have all my pencils. I still have all my things in the world. What I don't have is my attachment. I like my pencils, okay? But I'm not attached to them, because I now know I am not from here. I'm Jonah and the whale. The whale has swallowed me. So we're going to continue on in the Gospel of Thomas. And I thank you for going on this journey with me. I've been wanting to preach to preach or not preach. My friend who was visiting, he calls these Dharma talks. Maybe I should call them Dharma talks. I've been wanting to give Dharma talks on the Gospel of Thomas forever. And I so appreciate you coming along with me. And as for not church, why is it not church? It seems like church, doesn't it? A little bit, but it's not, because the fundamental idea here, there's a couple of fundamental ideas, and they all come from direct experience, mine. But Jesus the same. You are the light of the world. Jesus was not God. He was fully human, enlightened with the divine presence, maybe the most powerful mystic who ever lived, resurrected. A religion came from him. But the truth of it is, he said, you and I are like him. We are the light of the world. And that's why this is not church. Because you have it inside of you, within you already. Your Savior came with you here. Your Savior has always been with you. You just need to open it up. So that's the Gospel of Thomas. So next week in the next week's episode, in the Gospel of Thomas, it's Logion number 9. Logion number 9. You can join us live. Here's the last announcement. Join us live in Portland, Oregon, July 15th to the 17th at the Death, Grief, and Belief Conference. A weekend of shared wisdom, fearless exploration, and community support for unpacking toxic religious beliefs that can be harmful when facing loss and grief. Along with Dr. Terri Daniel and many luminaries, I'll be there in person. Check it out at the link below in the description. Counseling, consultation, and conversation can be booked with me at peterpanagore.love. Let's chat. Thanks for being here. Please like the video and subscribe. Like my hat? I like my hat. Thanks for your gifts of support, which make Not Church possible. I really couldn't be here without you. Your support also supports our 3 weekly living meditations, 2 on Monday and Wednesday, 1 on Tuesday, Kriya Yoga and Centering Prayer, and our Mystic Tea Salon, which is coming up at the top of the hour. And I have a poem. We're going to start with a poem. Where's that book? We're going to start with a poem. Somebody said, oh, Peter, you got to get a different Rumi book. I got a different Rumi book. We're going to start with a Rumi poem today. And maybe you know this poem about the tavern, but if you don't, it's what we're talking about. So Mystic Tea Salon at the top of the hour. I get books and stuff all over the place here. Find the link in the description below. And peace and love to everybody. Thanks for being here. Let's take a look at the chat. And then I want to keep this short if we can. I want to spend a little less time on the chat because I think we'll get more views with the shorter thing, maybe. So I'm going to take a look and see if there's pertinent things over here I can need to be commenting on. And I'm sorry about all the fakey little voices I'm throwing in. I'm just doing it because it was fun. Pretending I'm a radio announcer. That's kind of what I was doing this morning. Hey, Jimmy, Jeff, Basilio, I said hi to everybody. Skimming down the line. Hi, Freetness, and Catherine. Thank you, Catherine, for being here every week as the administrative person who oversees this whole thing. Thank you very much for monitoring the chat. And AM Errol Pippin. Hey, welcome, Errol Pippin. First time here. I hope come to Mystic Tea Salon. If you liked what you heard here, it's a Mystic Tea Salon is a conversation of mystics, real mystics, people who have had like transformative mystical experiences. It's about humility, kindness, and wisdom. And it really is. I learn something every week. It's not just me talking. There's a lot of wisdom flowing in this group. So maybe you can join us. Welcome here today. That's great. I'm glad you're here. Say hi sometime. Hey, Jeff, David, you start where you are, Jeff. Looking at this whale unity and got my fork ready. Oh, that's where you start. David is right, Jeff. You start where you are. You just start where you are. And here's the wonderful thing about the meditative life is as you expand your capacity, as you open even if you haven't meditated for 20 years, if you had meditated for a little while or a long while, you still have this capacity. The capacity never goes away. Start where you are. Come to meditation on Mondays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Practice a little bit. Doesn't take a lot. We only practice 20 minutes on Mondays and Wednesdays because people got busy lives. Tuesdays, it's longer. A little bit goes a long way. Start where you are. David is so right. One bite at a time. One bite at a time, Jimmy. One bite at a time. This group is saturated with love. Sorry if I'm going on and on. Been a good week. Jeff, keep going on and on. It's totally cool. Amy, first time here, live broadcast. Amy, welcome to the live broadcast. Glad you're here. I like the live broadcast. It's fun. Mistakes happen, and live TV was always more exciting than recorded TV. There's no take backs in live. It's like where you are is what's going on. What's going on is where you are. An internal knowing, Kathy. It's an internal knowing. Robert, Yeshua, the name our Savior's disciples used. The best truth is the big fish. The Gospel of Thomas is the words of Christ to his disciples, documented by the insecure one called the twin. Amy, thanks, Sue. Good. Kristen, pencils, 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 pencils everywhere. Pencils everywhere. I have to put them all back in the jar now. They're all over the desk. They're on the floor. They're everywhere. I put them in upside down. I got to be careful. I'm going to jab myself. Yeah. All right. Looking for love in all the wrong places. The true love is within. That's totally true. That's true, Colleen. What an end ear sees at the doorstep it's a doorstep. We only go to the doorstep, right? End ears, we don't go very far in. At the doorstep of the kingdom, the spirit kingdom is to understand and to be driven to seek. I'm going to read that again. What an end ear sees at the doorstep of the spirit kingdom, capital letters, is to understand and to be driven to seek. That's totally my experience. And all of them, the NDEers I know who went to that place, to the threshold of heaven, we understand and we seek. And like it says in Logian 2, we're troubled by it. And then we marvel at it. And then we rule over all, but really I step out of the way and the divine all rules over all in my life. It's an amazing thing. In the purgative fire of our self review, the little fish burn up and the big fish is perfectly cooked. I love that. Yes, exactly. Thank you, Jeff. I love that. Yes, love and life, AM. Hell energy. Yes, I come for the energy. Hell yeah, I come for the energy. That's great. That's something I would say. Hell yeah, I come for the energy. All right. Let's see. Peter's new hat says, not church, has swallowed the old sardines of the daily inspirational broadcast. Susan, that's true. Not church has swallowed the old sardines of my daily inspirational broadcast, which, by the way, is what's in this book. 365 of the 1700 I wrote. Yeah, but not church. My buddy. So I got this buddy, and he came and he visited. We were good friends at Divinity School at Yale, and we've remained friends. And one of the things he said to me, what did he say to me? He said, "My filter is off." He's known me a long time. I lived filtered. Daily devotions. It was a filter. I filtered. My filter is off now. I'm just, after I died the second time and all those mystical experiences that were between the first and the second, that second death, that just removed the filter from me. And so now my filter's off. So, yes, the big fish, the filter was a little fish. And now I'm not going to leave that. I'm just going to leave it alone and go back to what Susan said. Peter's new hat says, not church, and it's swallowed the old sardines of his daily inspirational broadcast. That's true, I think. I feel your passion. Thank you, quiet energy. I love the events of the sky. I think because it helps me focus on more heavenly things and less on the petty stuff of this world. Okay, so here's what happened last night over around the campfire. Now that we're a smaller group, we're sitting around the campfire out back. My wife's up in the mountains for overnight, and my buddy and I are out sitting around the fire, looking up at the up at the stars. And there's a light. There's that almost full moon, and there's a light, thin cover of floating clouds. So there's a low. They're low, and there's few of them, but there's enough of them. You can see the moon through, and we saw a UFO. There was a round dot moving in a sort of zigzaggy, straightish line that was not pulsating, that was a single glowing dot. It was radiating light out and it was moving across the sky. Bill, my buddy, he videotaped it. I got a little film of it, and I haven't. It's sitting in my phone, but it took like 5 minutes to go by. It took 11 seconds of film of it. Um, the size of the universe is immense. We're not alone, and it's all small fish. It's amazing to me. I, parables abound, so many seek when gathered in his name. We are gathered in the name of the divine. The name is the Huvier Vuvier, the unpronounceable. All right, so that's 39 minutes and 20 seconds. I was thinking it is not what is said, and then you said it is never what I'm saying. Michael says, he wrote, I was thinking, I can't do an Irish accent. I was thinking it is not what is said. Michael's from Ireland. I was thinking it's not what is said. And then you said, it's never what I'm saying. This is mysticism. This is the serendipities of the divine presence in community. Michael is across the freaking ocean from me. And yes, it is that way from where I'm sitting. I live on the Atlantic, and he lives on the Atlantic. There's an Atlantic in between us. And he thought what I said. The big fish. Eat at the table of the big fish, the banquet of the big fish banquet. Choosing to listen to what rings true with the path of the heart, amazed how much love pours now. I am fluidity, says Mary. This is it. Choosing to listen. We choose to listen to what rings true in the path of the heart. And she's amazed how much love pours through. And she says, Mary says, I am fluidity. This is the divine presence. This is the oneness of being. Infinite love with a capital L. Every time I listen here, I get a new understanding of something. Excellent parable of being swallowed by spirit. My meditation continues to reveal a deep, powerful carrier tone that supports our time-space reality, says my brother Ed. Brother Ed. The big fish found me and now is swimming in my aquarium in my life. Amen to that, Mary S. Candyman, agreed, Tim. Kathy F. Any thoughts on the eclipse today? Yeah, it's gonna be cool. I love eclipses. I wish I could see it here. I just wish I could see it. Tiffany, thank you. Thank you. All right, my friends. I'm going to quickly skim down here. Really reminds me of what's important. Very energizing. You find it. Thank you. We each have our own consciousness, but to become a part of the consciousness with others definitely makes for a very big fish that expands infinitely, says Anne. Is there, thanks, Jeff, for the feedback, says Kathy. Is there any particular translation of the Gospel of Thomas that you recommend? Let's see. I do have one that I like, but I'm gonna give you a clue you in to something. I particularly like, but not exclusively, okay, the Leighton Layton translation. But I do believe I put a link for wisdomlib.org down below. Wisdomlib.org. It's a research site that I use. And lots of translations. I read through different translations. This is the one I have on hard copy, and it's excellent, and it's available in hard copy. 1959 translation, which means it's an early translation, which means there wasn't a lot of new thinking going on inside of it. It was pretty strict, straightforward, Coptic to English. I like it too. I use that a lot, obviously. All right, let's see where we are. Thank you, Peter. You're welcome, PL. Have a beautiful week. Thank you all, Diana says, for being here on a fellow journey as a fellow journeyer. And Rowan, Jesus was God in the same way we're all God. Amen to that. I put this together today, says Anne. Spiritually transformative experiences change you. They do. You can't help but behave and see things differently. You can't help it. You're a changed person. It's like, yes. I wonder if that's what Christian refers to as being born again. Yes, that is what being born again is. You become a new person. Every single mystical experience I've ever had, and I've had many, I have a new identity after. I have a perspective shift. The consciousness, the Christ consciousness becomes more intense inside me. I have more of that. I become a new person. I see the world differently. I live in the world differently. I told my buddy yesterday all the crazy things that I never told him about my pastoral life. There's a lot of violence in my pastoral life. As a pastor, there was a lot of violence. And I sometimes, and he said to me, what did he say to me? Unusual ministry. Unusual ministry. Every new remake of me, each time I've been reborn, gave me the tools I needed to face the next challenge. That's the practicality of this. You get what you need. It gives you the sustenance specifically to what you need next. That is the pearl of great price. That is the big fish. All right, my friends. In Not Church are spoken the words I wanted to hear when I was a child in church. That's because you knew them in your heart already, Michael. They already lived in you. I love being with all these kindred souls each Sunday. I'm glad you're all here. I mean, you all spend your Sunday morning with me. I know COVID's over. There's a million things you could be doing. You can go outside. You can meet with people, but thank you for being here with us, with me. All right, my friends. I know my cats are always seeing other dimensional things. They're incredibly in tune with what's behind the veil. Oh yeah, so true. All right, I will see you in 15 minutes at the top of the hour at Mystic Tea Salon. I've got a poem for you from Rumi to begin us, and we can talk about this and peace and love. Namaste. Thank you for being here. May peace be with you always. Peace be with you. See you soon.